let's talk payroll. And let's talk about it in Washington State, a state that doesn't have a state income tax for state withholding, but does have a lot of other taxes. It's actually pretty complicated. So we're rounding out, going over all the US states and the District of Columbia and programming all of their tax formulas and codes into this Google Sheet and subsequently into Microsoft Excel to have it all ready. And as we get to Washington, it's a state I've worked with a little bit for farming and a couple other types of payroll applications. It's just really, really complicated for a state that doesn't have any state tax. So the reason why it's complicated is because they're going to have multiple rates related to different services. There's a rate for paid family leave, which is going up to 0.8%. That's 0.008 for 2023. This is a 2023 update. So basically that's one of the costs, but some of that can be split also because there's other things called LNI or labor insurance or STI or workers' comp. There are many different other types of taxes that are applied by the state of Washington that will be applied to your business based on some factors. Sometimes they're hourly rate factors. They're not just necessarily business factors. So it's a custom thing that requires me to kind of help you plug those numbers into this file and even do a little custom programming for you. But I have prepared it as best I can. And that means that when you choose an employee in Washington State, you do not have to choose a filing status because there's no withholdings, for that. So you don't have to worry about that. But what you do need to do is if you have this L&I rate that is established and they send you this L&I rate, they're going to classify your employees into different areas sometimes. It might be a plant worker, it might be a driver, it might be an office worker. And I've set up this validation for different workers comp types that you can change here at the bottom. You can change and adjust all these. So when they send you that notice and they say, this is the rate that we're charging per hour of your work, whatever, for these types of work that they do, whether it be office work or driver, whatever it's going to be, there's going to be a ton of different categories that could potentially be. They'll give you the rate. You can type the rate there, and that's going to get you on your way to being prepared to calculate all that stuff automatically here in the daily entry sheet. So as you have somebody working, you're going to have if they're only doing one type of work, this is going to show up automatically depending on which employee it is. Like, are they a driver? You can see that person was a driver. If we change them here to a different person, like an office person, you're going to see that's going to change everywhere. So if they're just one type of employee and they always do one type of work, then you can do it that way. If they are a versatile employee that is doing different types of work and has different hours in different areas, you're going to want to represent that here in the daily entry sheet, and you're going to want to manually change these things. And you're going to want to say, I don't want it to be office. I want this person to be a driver this day. And you can put that workers' comp type and you can override it right there. And whatever their hours are going to apply to that. And then I'm going to program in to connect the rates, however they are applied to your hours. So this can generate your workers' comp, your L&I distribution, is what it can do. It's not fully automated yet because you just have to plug in some numbers related to your business. As much as I want to provide a canned product that you don't have to adjust at all, in this sense, Washington is so complicated that you have to, because you don't know what percentage the employer is going to pay or the employee is going to pay, and you don't know how it's being applied also to the business. So that's Washington, though. It's not too bad. So you've got your paid family leave, you've got potentially your L&I expense. What shows up on the pay stub is going to be just a federal withholding for the employee, and this Washington paid family medical leave area right here, 0.008 a year. No state tax, no local taxes that I know about. And you do have Washington State unemployment as well, which is up to, looks like 67,600 for the year. I believe that's what the increase is. Actually, I thought it went up to 68,200. Let's ask Google real quick. Washington State unemployment wage base 2023.
$67,600.
No,
According to
no,
Bloomberg
you're good.
Tax, Washington unemployment taxable wage
Used to be 67.6. There you go. Yep. All right. So that is correct. So that's Washington. This payroll application can work with those Washington taxes. I just want to let everyone know that. I want to know that Washington is now complete. And I would say that these states that we're waiting on, I know North Carolina is changing slightly. A lot of these other ones might not even be changing at all. I know Mississippi is slightly changing, but I already kind of adjusted for it. And Maryland. But other than that, we're basically ready to go, which means the videos that I'm going to be doing next are going to be coming out of the Microsoft Excel version as I adjust this into Microsoft Excel and essentially have it available to anyone who has even a larger business of 100 employees or so. The Excel version will work and not lag like this one does in one Google Sheet. It is more powerful in that sense. So that's Washington State, a state without any personal income tax, but with a bunch of other taxes for employers and employees to contribute to, including paid family leave and state disability, LNI, um, and yeah, and unemployment for the employer. All right, so good luck. Payroll should be easy. We're trying to make it so even in Washington State, a state I have not been to in many years. I have not crossed into Washington State since like 2017. It's time I go and check out Mount Rainier again.